Face up, Papa J. If Ferraris with a K, niggas trolling on the ground. Man hunt, catch a case. Catch a punk, he gon' lay. I just blew 100K. Eyes blind like Ray. No surrender, press play. Niggas talking like they bout it. Carry guns and never shot it. Niggas acting like they reps around this bitch. Let's run an audit. Cause these bars come with scars. In a jungle, catastrophic. I've been riding in the Beamer. Waistline with a rocket. If I hit him in his eye, dummy lose his whole socket. I'm the goal in the set. I'm a trophy, I'm a vet. Treat these hoes like a pet. Cause they fucking on rejects. Ain't nobody drop for money. You on pills and all that lean. 5 bills to get you whack. Asking Cuddy how I feel. Did an interview with Whack. Niggas say I cut a deal. Niggas speaking like they know me. Trying to catch him in the field. Any of my real crodies probably treat him like my rib. If we twinning, it's a shotter. Guarantee you gotta win. Air Forces in the lobby. Big Papa like I'm big. Track Hawk with a chopper. Almost killed a pimp on Fig. Niggas lying like they bosses. Talk about what you and did. Face up, Papa J. If Ferraris with a K. Niggas trolling on the ground. Man hunt, catch a case. Catch a punk, he gon' lay. I just blew 100K. Eyes blind like Ray. No surrender, press play. What's the deal with the good old people, man? It's your boy Young Ant Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing. Press that button, and if you ring that notification bell, I'm going to bring you mail. What's the good old big deal with the good old people? It's Hot Topics with your boy Young Ant Hefe, and I'm here to deliver you another one like the other one. The recipient of Hot Topics is Lil Potter from Grape Street. Lil Potter from Grape Street, Watts. So, I don't know if it was on YouTube or on Instagram, but however, it was on one of these social media sites that I had ran into Lil Potter. And I had heard the name before, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's around the time that the crime he is in jail for was committed, or just through conversations, you know, just being through the jail houses, running into people in common, knowing people from these hoods, you know what I'm saying, being in these hoods and things like that. You know how it go, you know what I'm saying? So, I heard the name before, couldn't remember what I heard the name or what it was associated with, but I knew the name was associated with Grape Street. So, Compton TG, I'm going to say Compton TG, rapper Compton TG. I know he had like a little situation like a few months ago that the internet had covered. Some people was trying to say he was PC, was trying to say he got rolled up off the yard. You know, he gave his reasoning, you know what I'm saying, in which the situation and episode that he was inserted in, why it happened. So you know how the internet is. Everybody like the coin phrase, the internet is undefeated. And the people are a part of the internet. So when you have majority swaying one way, saying that you did something, more than likely the internet is going to run with that narrative, and that is the narrative that's being pushed through the algorithm. So with that being said, Compton TG, whatever yard he's on now, he felt the need to set the record straight, set the narrative straight. Y'all got me messed up. Ain't nothing PC about where I'm at and how I'm stepping. So it looked like whatever unit he in, he got some members in there. He got some real members in there. I don't know if this is the same prison. I have been here. Whatever prison Compton TG had his situation at, he's just on a different yard, or whatever the case may be. Y'all know how that go. You might have a squabble with a person. Usually, as of late, they'll let you sign a chrono if you say it's not a problem, and you and that person get to come back. If it is a problem or the police feel it's a problem, you know, they're going to ship somebody up out of there or move somebody to the next yard, so you don't have to be sitting in that hole waiting 3 to 4 months for a bus to come get you and take you to another facility. So Compton TG, you know, go live on that phone in the cell, and he showed the face of Lil Potter, and he showed the face of, I want to say, somebody named Lil Cholo from Park Village, And, you know, Lil Potter really, you know, took over the forecast. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, I don't know what y'all talking about, baby low. Ain't no PCs up in here. Lil Potter, Grape Street, Watts. You know what I'm saying? If you know, you know. You know what yard I'm on, you know what I'm saying? We ain't doing no PC. So I seen that, you know, and I was laughing, you know, and I'm seeing that like, hey, yeah, he ain't going for none. He giving it up. And what do you know? The way the universe works. I guess Respectable Rants had just did a segment or already had did a segment on it. And this segment popped up on my feed. So when the segment popped up on my feed, man, you know I had to divvy off into it, man. And it's a crazy case, man. And Lil Potter is sitting on 7 life sentences. So I definitely feel him, you know what I'm saying? 7 life sentences allegedly for some homicides that he did not commit. And if he didn't tell on that or said people about that, ain't no need for him to go to a jail and allow himself to be on anything PC. So, you know, I righteously feel him when he come up, you know, speaking about his well-being and where he at. But with that being said, we about to get off into this content, and y'all already know it's the halfway to half effect. We gonna commentate.
Around here, Lil Potter from Grape Street. That's on Grape. Hey, listen, man. That's on Young. PC who? PRMOSB Jordan down Grape Street. Lil Potter, you know what it is. I'm the dead homies. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. Lil Potter is where? Not arguing with no trolls. And not finna go back and forth with no in this world. On Beezy.
This is a homicide in progress. Watch closely. First, you see 3 vehicles drive by. Detectives say they've spotted them on other cameras, too, driving in tandem, all of them part of what happens next. Triple shooting. 3 people shot. It blew out the back window of Dugall's car and hit the power box of the gas station, knocking out the power. When the gunsmoke settled, Dugall was dead. His girlfriend and a homeless man critically wounded, and the shooter gone.
But what it's not finna do is let another smother. Everybody always gonna have something bad to say about another on Grape, especially when they got motion and they don't. PRMOSB Jordan down Grape Street, Lil Potter, you know what it is. I'm the dead homie.
In today's video, we're gonna be speaking about Lil Potter from Grape Street. We're gonna break down how him and 6 other members of Grape Street would be accused of committing 3 separate shootings in a matter of 3 hours. And these shootings would leave 7 people wounded and 1 dead. And we're also going to break down how majority of his co-defendants would turn their back on him and take the stand or give a statement. But let's dive right into it. We're going to take you back to August 3rd of 2016. And on that night, Lil Potter and a bunch of Grape Street members would meet up in the Jordan Downs. And it's alleged that they would come up with a plan to retaliate against some bounty hunters. And allegedly a few weeks before they came up with this plan, somebody from Grape Street who was a high-ranking member would be murdered by a member of bounty hunters. But they're alleging that on the night of August 3rd of 2016, somebody named Vernon Williams, who was an alleged leader and shot caller for the Grape Streets, was the one that came up with that plan and told everybody what to do, and everybody followed at Williams' direction. They would all then jump into 3 separate cars and stay in communication on their cell phones. Williams, who they are alleging was the shot caller, would jump into a Mercedes with somebody named Bradford, and they would be the lead car, and their job was to look for the targets. Then 3 other people would jump into the Lexus, which would be the decoy vehicle, and the final vehicle would be a Nissan, which would have Lil Potter and 2 other people inside of it, and we're going to refer to them as the shooter vehicle. And the first place that they would drive to would be the Howard Hughes Center. This would be a shopping center, and like we said, Williams, who was the shot caller, came up with this plan. So I think it's safe to say that he probably got the drop that there was a bounty hunter blood out there driving a Maserati, because that's the type of vehicle that they would be looking for. Williams would then spot the Maserati, and he would identify the driver as somebody from bounty hunters. That's when the shooter vehicle that had Lil Potter in it would open fire on the Maserati, and all 3 people inside of the shooter vehicle would open fire on the vehicle, hitting the driver of the Maserati. Thankfully, nobody would pass away in the situation, but the driver would have to be treated for multiple gunshots. And shortly after that shooting happened, they would return back to Watts, and they would pick up an AK. And as you can see right there, they're alleging that Williams, who was the shot caller, was not satisfied with the first shooting. So he would tell all 3 vehicles to head to the Nickerson Gardens after they picked up that AK. They would then pull up to the Nickerson Gardens and circle around a few times. They would then see a group standing in the field, And that's when Lil Potter would park the Nissan, and a Grape Street member with the last name Lawson would open fire on the group until his pistol was empty. And the other passenger, whose last name was Smith, had the AK, and he was attempting to put one in the chamber, but he couldn't. So Smith wasn't able to fire any shots, but nobody would be hit in the shooting. And the next shooting would happen about an hour later after this. This would be the last shooting though. And this one would happen at a gas station across the street from the Nickerson Gardens. The 3 carfuls of Grape Street members would drive by the gas station, and they would notice Cordero and his vehicle parked outside. That's when they would pull into the gas station. That's when Smith, who was in the backseat of the Nissan, would roll down the window, and they would exchange words, and then Smith would open fire with the AK. He would kill Cordero, and he would wound 2 others, including his girlfriend. And this shooting would take place at 12:50 in the morning at the 76 gas station across the street from Nickerson Gardens, like we said. And this right here would be Dugal Cordero, who lost his life the night of the shooting, and may he rest in peace. But let's not forget that this whole thing was caught on camera. So less than 2 hours after the shooting and the murder, the Lexus, who was the decoy car, would be pulled over and the occupants would be arrested. This would happen around 3 o'clock in the morning on August 4th. But later on that night of August 4th of 2016, the occupants of the Nissan would be pulled over and they would also be arrested. And this would be the car full of shooters. This would be the car with Lil Potter and 2 other people. And they would all be booked and arrested that same exact day of August 4th of 2016. But this right here is where things get tricky. Because like we mentioned before, Smith, who was the one with the AK and was the one who pulled the trigger when somebody lost their life that night, would give statements to police and cooperate as soon as he stepped foot into the police station. He would admit to detectives that he was part of the group from Grape Street that committed the shootings at the Nickerson Gardens, at the gas station, and at the shopping center. But this is where things get crazy. Who was the
So y'all heard it right there with y'all own ears, man. And all I can say, man, that it's always a snitch. In this situation, it was so much shooting going on that I would have been scared to snitch. It's a cold game. But what I will and can say, no shots taken, or pun intended. Lil Potter was on that powder, allegedly. Y'all already know, regardless of what you been taken down for, the jury and found you guilty for, or what's placed on camera, it's still allegedly, man, because you still got action as long as you got life in your body. You still got action, man. I've seen people beat the unthinkable. I've seen people come back for the unthinkable, man. They letting people go that's allegedly unaliving people on camera. Like, this is not a mistaken identity that this is this person, and all the witnesses is blaming this person. So I've seen it happen. But the crazy thing about this, let's just get into it. This is regular business and regular protocol, although it's sad. But this is how it go. One of yours hit, you trying to annihilate if you mad enough or they hit the right person. So on this particular day, it looked like these dudes was charged up. These dudes went on 3 of them. They got a drop on somebody that was alleged to be from bounty hunters, that was at some little mall complex or little place, y'all seen it, that was in a Maserati. Somebody dropped a dime on him. They pulled down on him. Well, allegedly, whoever the occupants was and the shooters was, they handled their business. On site. They released fire on the intended target. This dude, from what's being said, was hit up a few times, nothing fatally, went to the hospital. These guys get back down to the Jordan Downs, to their area. Whoever the dude they mentioned by name, whoever he was, I don't know. He was pressing the line, as they say allegedly. Hey, look, ain't no man down. Okay, the Maserati hit up. I don't know if they had Citizen app out at that time because I was doing time in federal prison. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how long the Citizen app been out. I don't know if a million hits was showing up on the scenes back then. But whatever transpired, he wasn't satisfied. So allegedly, Powder and the rest of the group had to get cracking again. They slide out on the next one. The next one, Nickerson Garden Housing Projects, house of the Bounty Hunter Watt Bloods. They hit a few corners around the projects. It's alleged they see a crowd. Somebody get cracking on the crowd. Whoever had the AK, either he was scared, but as they say, he said that he didn't get one in the chamber fast enough. Now, this already should have been one in the head on your way over there. You know what I'm saying? One not being in the head to a degree is kind of a rookie mistake. Unless you just nervous. I'm just saying. Just my opinion. Don't mean that is right. Don't mean that is wrong. They go over there. Allegedly. Whoever get busy, get busy. The AK don't go off. They go back to the Jordan Down housing projects. And I know the second time, whoever this other gentleman was, I know he's filming by this time. By this time, it probably just would have been some A kickers, some butt whoopers. Man, look, it's DP mode, if anything, because obviously this is about to go bad. It's about to go bad. 2 times, and if the mission is unsuccessful, it is about to go bad. You might have just administered the A kicking and allow some more members to get cracking, because this is not a small gang. You know what I'm saying? This is a big gang, so you might as well just choose some other members to get cracking. However, the crowd leave from their housing projects again, go back towards the Nickerson housing projects, and you know it gotta be hot. You know it gotta be undercovers or narcs sitting close somewhere around. Regardless of you thinking they just came to the scene and collect some shells and nobody wasn't hitting this over with, somebody's lurking in the area of the vicinity, and it's a police station right down the street. They come back. It's a gas station right across the street from the Nickerson Gardens. It's 2 of them. You know, we got one that's right on Central, the shells right next to the gas station. And then like once you get to the middle, like right before you hit Compton, you have the other gas station. So I guess whoever was at that gas station late at night was at the wrong place at the wrong time. They strike at that gas station, strike a target. This target gets knocked down. Mission confirmed. Now, I don't remember if they went right back to their housing projects after that, or if they was just joyriding around and riding around. But what I can conclude and come to is that they all got caught and stopped. As soon as they hit the police station, somebody broke water from the door. One of the shooters. And let's get back into this story. You already know, man, it's the halfway and the half effect. We gonna commentate.
Shooter also told police that the gang forced him to participate in the shootings. He would tell police that they physically assaulted him and held him at gunpoint and told him to jump into the Nissan. He would also say that they forced him to hold the AK in the back seat. But during his interrogation, he would give a bunch of inconsistent statements about where he was seated in the vehicle. He would also tell police that Lil Potter and Lawson were the ones that shot at the crowd at the Nickerson Gardens. And don't forget, that situation right there, Lil Potter was just the driver, and Smith and Lawson were both the shooters. And he would also blame Lawson for the murder at the gas station, saying he was the one that fired the AK-47 out the back seat. And with the evidence they gathered, including the statements of Smith putting everybody on the scene, they would be charged with 1 count of murder, 3 counts of attempted murder, 2 counts of shooting at a vehicle, and 1 count of possession of a firearm by a felon. But Smith wasn't the only one who gave a statement, because the second shooter, who was Lawson, would also give a statement in exchange for a plea agreement. And don't forget, in the shooter vehicle would be Lil Potter driving, and then the other 2 shooters would be Smith and Lawson. And so far, both of them gave statements. And the next person who would give a statement in exchange for a plea agreement would be Bradford. But before we dive into that, I just feel like I need to mention that Vernon Williams, who we spoke about earlier, was not charged in this case at all. And he would be the one that was riding in the Mercedes with Bradford. And he was also the one that they claim was the shot caller and telling them what to do. So I don't even get how he didn't get arrested, because Bradford, who was in the vehicle with him, was arrested. And like we just read in the paperwork, they know he was present for everything, because there would be 3 people giving statements. They would all have to sit in the county jail for the next 4 years, however.
Boy, listen, this shit crazy how these niggas get the snitching. Me and Brody's, we done went up on a mission. Flocka went detective, the shooter and turn witness. Boy, listen, this shit crazy how these niggas get the snitching. Me and Brody's, we done went up on a mission. Flocka went detective, the shooter and turn witness. These niggas, how the my right-hand man turn into a witness. This shit crazy on my motherfucking baby. 30 minutes at the station, he already made a statement. Damn. This shit amazing. This interview 100 pages. Mad at me because this ass couldn't hang out. Went and told them lies and got a young banged out gang. That's what it's about though. How you holler gang, but then you going on your mouth. This shit is wicked. I don't even get it. How the driver say he's solid, but the shooter did the snitching. Get thugging. I can't even lie on. Baby, look, I did some busting. Now I'm sitting here, locked up with cancer, trying to use the phone, but don't nobody want to answer. Boy, listen.
He would then start trial in January of 2020. And during the trial, Lawson, who was one of the shooters, and Bradford would testify against Lil Potter and Smith, who was also one of the shooters. But don't forget that Lil Potter was just the driver. And on top of that, they would also have statements from Smith that he made at the police station. And they would also have surveillance footage of the whole entire thing. But after about a month, on February 6th of 2020, he would be convicted by a jury and found guilty on all counts. For count 1, he would get life without parole. Count 2, he would get life. But as you can see at the bottom, he would have to run that consecutive. Count 3 would be the same thing, life. And as you can see at the bottom, he would have to run that consecutive also. On count 4, he would get 15 years to life. Count 5, he would get life again. And as you can see at the bottom, he would have to run that consecutive also. In count 6, he would get 15 years to life. And as you can see at the bottom, he would have to run that consecutive also. And this right here would be how he got 7 life sentences. Because as you can see, count 1 is life without parole, plus an additional 25 to life. So that would be 2 life sentences just for count 1. Count 2, life. Count 3, life. Count 4, life. Count 5, life. Count 6, life. And in red, all counts are to run consecutive. And it's crazy because he was just the driver, and the shooters are the one that told on him. Lawson, who was 18 years old at that time, would receive 28 years in prison and be eligible for parole and 13 for his statement. And Bradford, who was 19 years old at that time, would get 9 years in prison in exchange for his statement. And on February 5th of 2020, which was a day before Lil Potter was convicted, Smith, who was the shooter and the one who gave the statements, would be found guilty by a jury and he would be convicted, but he would be acquitted on 2 counts. And on count 1, which would be the murder, he would get life without parole. Count 2, he would get life. And as you see at the bottom, count 2 has to run consecutive with count 1. And on count 3, he would get life again. And as you can see at the bottom, he would have to run that consecutive also. On count 4, he would get 15 years to life. And then the last count, he would get 3 years. But that right there would be the story of Lil Potter from Grape Street. And I appreciate y'all for
Alright, so I know for sure 7 life sentences leave the occasional narrow-minded person hopeless. It'll leave you hopeless. Ain't too many people gonna come back from 7 life sentences, let alone allow themselves to go to that law library. A lot of dudes right now in that state, right now with that type of time, are trading their integrity to smoke spikes. Wigging out, getting ran up top, going to 50 yards and stuff like that. Now, as Lil Potter has already spoken, he's on the solid yard with a lot of time. So, if we merge all these cases together that they're alleged to have went down for and serving time for, 1 homicide, 2 attempts. They say Potter was the alleged driver. What I'm not understanding is how the driver got 7 life sentences Now, I understand what they did do was stack the murder and the attempted that happened with gang allegations, gun allegations, and whatever else other special allegations they came with or come with. This was back 2016. By then, some laws have passed because I've noticed cases I've heard of where people have unalived people and the drivers have been let go or have not been charged with the murder, like some with an accessory or a manslaughter and something like that. And if I'm speaking correctly, I don't see it no different for Lil Potter. I think a lot of those sentences are gonna get knocked off. 7 life sentences, like who does that? 1 life sentence is just good enough. 1 life sentence, no parole. However, a lot of dudes made statements. See, like 2 or 3 dudes made statements. As y'all see, Potter came out. He got a rap about it. You know what I'm saying? You got to be careful with that too, definitely, if you are thinking about getting back, because this is something that could be damaging. Like, hey, when you go to board or you go to court, like, hey, you know, do you have any remorse? You know, you rapping about it. You know what I'm saying? And stuff like that, you feel me? And, you know, he say that he was the driver and he got told on by the shooter. If you not the shooter, I'm not even understanding how the shooter can tell him the driver. Like, but just saying, oh, he was the driver. But it don't even really, ain't no need to even say who the driver wants you when you the one that cracked the skull. Might as well just let the driver go. It's like the driver wasn't even there. But they give Potter 7 life sentences. I think some things gonna get overturned for Potter, for sure. I don't know if he in that law library, if he got anybody working on stuff for him, but he definitely better get on it, because I don't see how all that time can stand for him just being a driver, you know what I'm saying, of something. But we'll see what happens. Cold part about it, as soon as they hit the station, one of the shooters broke water, started spilling milk off the back. I guess hoping to save Grace or to save himself, but it's like, I mean, what are you hoping to, like, tell it on the driver? Like, I mean, yeah, I don't know. I'm not here to try to even figure out that jigsaw puzzle, because it's crazy. Like, I don't understand it, but obviously those dudes who told were somebody who was scared. Like, after they did the little first situation, got away, and probably had to go on the next one, was like, man, you know, that's why that AK didn't get bust. And then the third one, yeah, for sure, they would, you know, they had enough. You know what I'm saying? They had tapped out, man. It was over with, man. Look, I'm giving up everything, the lessons thing, to try to go home. And they all still got banged. Said it just kept your mouth shut and held water. And I don't even understand why they were still driving around in this same vehicle anyway, unless they got pulled over from leaving that scene of the last shooting. Because it don't make no sense. I would have been parked up out that car. Probably would have told them after we hit a few corners, just let me out. I'll find my way, because too much already had went on. And you don't know who seen what. It don't seem like no vehicles was changed up. Like, yeah. So it's just like, you know, the stupidity and or the pressure, you know, warranted and brokered them being caught and taken to jail. And then they throwing this other dude name out there, because obviously, as was said by one of them, he was forced on the mission and was told to get in the car, this and that was going to happen. And obviously he gave names of high-ranking members that allegedly forced him on the mission. Good thing, whoever this other dude name was they threw out there in the mix, the police didn't pick him up on no BS mastermind and, you know, forceful stuff, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, them the games that they be trying to play. But with that being said, that is a life and time of Lil Potter from Grape Street Watts. And with that being said, I'm going to conclude that right there. It's your boy Young and Hefe. Don't care about number what the check say. Make sure you go ahead and like and subscribe, because it don't cost you nothing to press that button. And if you ring that notification bell, I'm going to bring you mail.
Be acting like they own shit over there, my nigga. You feel me? Like, nigga, you don't own nothing over there, though, bro. Nigga, get to the hood. Nigga ain't got, nigga, we hand in front of somebody else's house. If you don't knock it off, nigga, I'm finna go in the house, go, nigga, take my shoes off, nigga, turn on YouTube, make me some content, and stay out you niggas' way. Because it be 10 niggas on the block with one strap. You feel me? I got my own strap. You feel me? I ain't passing shit off. And I ain't put my life in another nigga's hands. So the fix all that, right? I'm just stay my monkey ass in the house. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? And there's so much niggas telling out here nowadays. You don't know who's snitching. You feel me? You got a strap on you. You know what I'm saying? Next thing you know, you got Crash, the FBI, the National Guards pulling out, going straight to you. But you want a nigga to come to the hood.